Hi everybody, welcome back to Greg's Grooves. One of my favorite types of video that I enjoy watching on YouTube are listening room videos, and I certainly don't have a listening room. I've already complained on a video about living in a small one-bedroom apartment and enjoying music, but I figured I would give you a tour of the system as it sits today and as it's been for quite a while. So, the centerpiece of my system is my Technics turntable, SL1400, a sister of the famed SL1200, and I went out of my way to find this model for a couple simple reasons. I love the robustness of the direct drive design, but I also love a good automatic return. So this is a manual start, automatic return. To me, the best of both worlds. I don't have to worry about getting up and taking the needle off the record at the end of the album. It just does that for me. All right. Below that, and we'll get to the cartridge and stuff in a moment. I just want to give a quick overview. Below that, we have my Technics receiver. This was actually my grandmother's, SA104. You'll see, not a high-end receiver. In fact, the turntable's quite a bit more high-end than the receiver is. My philosophy on that, I'm going to make a video about that, but I remember reading an interview with one of the Classic Records people, Classic Records who make the 200-gram pressings, audiophile pressings. And when they did their reference listens, their test listens for quality control, they did it through what they described as a budget Japanese amp because they praised its neutrality. Now they still used high-end speakers, a high-end turntable, but they put that all through just kind of a run-of-the-mill amp like this one. And I've tried a lot of things. I had a beautiful Marantz 2252B. I had Macintosh equipment, a full preamplifier and amplifier combo. And honestly, I prefer the sound of this little budget Technics amp. I think it's 30 watts per channel. I could be wrong on that. I don't even know that much about it. I have it because it was my grandmother's. I inherited it from her, and honestly, it has exactly what I'm looking for. It is tonally pretty neutral with maybe a touch of warmth. I don't need a lot of power. I'm not looking to blow the walls down. I couldn't if I wanted to. And there goes my neighbor vacuuming. I don't know if you could hear that, so kind of case in point here. To the left of that, we have my Onkyo Integra 3-head cassette deck. I still love to listen to and record cassettes, even though I'm much more of a vinyl guy. I grew up on the cassette, so when it comes to the nostalgia factor, cassettes actually hold more nostalgia for me than vinyl. I was born in 1991, so my music for the first 10 years of my life was always purchased on cassette. We didn't even have a CD player until like very late in the 90s, early in the 2000s. So, you know, I'm not going to get too much into the specs. I did seek out a 3-head deck, but really it was about what was available on Craigslist when I was looking for something. As far as playing digital discs is concerned, I have this Pioneer Laserdisc player over there. I have a very small video collection. I'm not as much of a video enthusiast as I am an audio enthusiast, but I do like these old formats like my Betamax and my VHS. Yes, that is a Betamax deck. That I have because on a pragmatic level, I wanted to play these old Betamax tapes that my dad had. When he bought his first VCR in the 80s, he thought Betamax was going to win the format wars, so he had cool recordings like Live Aid recorded on the Betamax, and I wanted to play those things, so I scooped that up, but I ended up finding this really nice model with the Stereocast, the separate Stereocast that you can see at the bottom there, so some cool stuff. All right, I want to bring you in real quick to and I apologize, I want to bring you in to look a little bit more at the cartridge that I'm currently running. So let me open this up. Okay, so this is the Audio-Technica VMN 40ML, and I bought it already in the head shell. And let me tell you, for these Technics tables, there was like almost no adjustment that needed to be made to the what's the word I'm looking for? To the alignment of the cartridge. It came out of the box basically perfect, the geometry of it. I have had higher end styli and cartridges like Ortophone 2M Blue and Black, and they do not track nearly as well as this cartridge. I'm not sure what it's selling for today. I know I spent somewhere between $200 and $300 on it. Worth every penny. I have no inner groove distortion, which was my big pet peeve with vinyl, even on good tables, and I've owned a lot of tables. With this combination, the traditional Technics S-Tone arm, with this cartridge, I don't think it can be beat for the price point. All in on the turntable, I spent $100, Craigslist find, then the cartridge, I splurged a little bit, but I'd still call this, at least in the hi-fi realm, budget. And yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to need something else. I thought about stepping up to an Ortophone Quintet or something like that. I don't need it. I've had other cartridges I've liked a lot, especially a couple Denon high output moving coil cartridges. I prefer the sound of this. It tracks better, it's more forgiving, especially with the thrift store finds that are maybe not in the best condition. I am shocked every day by the sound that this cartridge gets out of those records. Yes, on a pristine prestige pressing, is it going to be as detailed as one of those higher end cartridges? Oh, absolutely not, and I'm not pretending it is. But I can't listen to volumes that will allow me to appreciate that anyway. So for my purposes, this is absolutely perfect. Just in case you're interested, the last thing I was spinning here was the Kinks, Give the People What They Want. Underrated album, in my opinion. But anyway, I do have wireless headphones, which suit me okay for my purposes in the apartment, but they allow me to kind of move around and do things. Just for the sake of the vintage vibe, I do have an 8-track player there. I'll be honest, it gets next to no use. I only have a handful of 8 tracks. It's there more as a conversation piece and just something, I like the novelty of it occasionally. I love, if I can get them in the focus, these ELAC bookshelf speakers. I believe they're, you know, I gotta look up the model. I'm not 100% certain what the model is, and my camera really does not want to focus on them, but I'll drop the model in the description. Again, for my purposes, they work absolutely wonderfully. I have them on these cheap isolation feet that I think I got off Amazon years ago. Something that you can't really see here, is above my cable box. I have a 5-way switch for inputs. I do have, you know, a lot of inputs between the cassette deck. I have a Blu-ray player over here. I have the laser disc, the VCR. I have a Bluetooth adapter so I can listen to music, stream music through my phone. So that 5-way switch comes in handy big time. I have this inexpensive record weight that I do feel helps the stability. Probably not as important with a direct drive, but when I used to have some belt-driven tables, like I had an old acoustic research table, that really came in handy. Over on this bottom corner here, and forgive my wonky movements, and there's a record sleeve down there next to my guitars, but I have my Iowa Walkman that I picked up at the thrift store a couple years ago. Still works perfectly. 3-band equalizer. Just fun to use sometimes. And yeah, that's the tour as it is right now. It's not a listening room as much as it is my living room. And my system is extremely humble as it sits right now. I hope to remake this video one day and go into detail on each one of the components and its specs and how it all works together. But for now, I think that's a good little tour. Always wanted to make one of these videos, and now I can say I have. So until next time, everybody, hope to see you again on Greg's Grooves.